Yes, your nutrition recommendations could make your clients fat or bloated or gassy or constipated. You get the idea. Ouch, right? Or, by the way, are you a female in midlife yourself, working with females in midlife? You absolutely want to listen to this episode and potentially do a little bit more homework with some of the resources that I'll mention. But you will know in this very, very short podcast, we cover a lot of ground that you're going to be glad you listened to. My guest in this episode is Sara Banta. She's the owner of Accelerated Health Products, in addition to the host of Accelerated Health Radio and TV. Her goal is to help her clients and listeners reach their optimal state of health through proper detox supplements, cutting-edge technologies, and modalities. And hold your horses. Don't go away. If you're thinking, no, I don't do supplements, I don't want to hear this, and I'm afraid this is going to be too salesy, stay tuned, because I am exactly that girl. I swore up and down for 30 years, I will never, ever, 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 ever sell supplements until I did. And I realized that if I didn't, my clients were consuming junk. They were going into the nutrition store and they were buying any nutrition product, protein, namely, off the shelf, didn't realize that there are 80 pseudonames for sugar, didn't realize it was spiking their blood sugar, didn't realize it was an inflammatory dairy, and realized if I don't educate them, I am leaving them lurching and fending for themselves, making mistakes. So stick with me here. I won't steer you wrong, but think of this as an opening to a conversation. Maybe you'll hear it now and then let it go through. Maybe you're in exactly the right position. This solves a missing puzzle piece and solves a mystery for you. So Sara hit a rock. She literally hit rock bottom when Western medicine couldn't give her answers or solutions. She discovered natural solutions that actually worked. And as she herself was healing from Crohn's disease, hormonal issues, PCOS, IBS, and heavy metal toxicity, she was hit with her 9-year-old son's diagnosis of leukemia. And I know if you're a parent, you felt what I just said. It was that moment that she knew she had a bigger calling in life to open people's eyes to the world of natural healing. Fast forward to today, where she serves her clients and listeners with cutting-edge protocols that combine scalar frequency-based supplements, Chinese medicine, healing devices, and much more to help detox, reset, and rebuild the body, the mind, and the spirit. So in this episode, we answer just 3 big questions that are going to point you to the answer of when your nutrition recommendations might be making clients fat. I'm Deborah Atkinson. You're listening to Fitness Marketing Mastery, where I share almost always marketing and sales strategies that help you build a business in a way that is anything but sleazy, salesy, or pushy. That is, in fact, enjoyable, easy, and fun so that you can build both a business and a life with the freedom of time, money, and energy that you love. And the world has never needed you or I more than ever. It's been my mission for decades that we level up the fitness industry and we stop confusing and we start coming together to collaborate instead of seeing each other as competition. And this podcast and every episode in it is meant to do just that. Today, we're diverting from marketing and sales strategies, although I'm going to lead you back to it at the end of the show, because my suggestion for you is that as I am actually doing Sara's detox and cleanse, to try it for myself. it is to suggest that you do the same. You too may become or want to become an affiliate for Sara, helping to share her products once you are a believer. So I encourage you to listen to today's podcast. Also encourage you to listen to the link to the full episode that I'm sharing with my Flipping 50 audience. And I'll link to that in our show notes today at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/nutrition recommendations. fitnessmarketingmastery.com/nutrition recommendations. And you get the lowdown. You'll get enough information, I promise you, to know if you want to go and listen to more. But there's a lot to unpack here. If eating healthy for you is not actually working, or if eating healthy for your clients is not actually working, and I don't mean not because they're compliant or non-compliant, I mean because they are, and it's still not working. This one is for the record books. Let's get started. So, Sara, I mean, this is for every personal trainer listening, every health coach. They've had, unless they are a specialist in nutrition, and maybe even if they are a specialist in nutrition, but not having really deep dived into gut health, they're recommending quote unquote healthy foods to clients. I mean, let's break down a little bit. And I want to hit one myth. Chicken and broccoli are notorious, if not iconic combinations for meals for eating lean among trainers, especially those who are bodybuilders. How can they be making you, listener, or your clients fat? Sara, can you address that?
Well, number one, the chicken is not breaking down. So the way protein is broken down is it goes into the liver, broken down into amino acids, and then your liver says, oh, well, your bicep needs these 4 amino acids, for instance, to go to your bicep and build it stronger and leaner. Well, the amyloid proteins never get broken down and actually get lodged into your tissues in places like your brain, in Alzheimer's disease and that sort of thing. So the chicken isn't even actually getting used right, and it can be causing a spike in insulin, and it also is not full of nutrients. So we want to be focusing on the animal proteins that are wild, the lamb, the bison, the deer, the elk, the wild fish. These one, duck, pheasant, turkey is like chicken, not quite as bad. So we want to keep that to a minimum as well. But those proteins are full and dense of nutrients, where your muscles need all the nutrients, the vitamin B's, the iron, the even the vitamin A, and all of the amino acids that can easily be broken apart and building that lean muscle tissue. And it has the right amount of omega-3 to omega-6 ratios. I believe chicken has that ratio of 70-1. Whereas even a grass-fed, grass-finished beef, which I'm not a huge fan of beef, it's okay. Most people can handle it good. But the wild meats that I'm talking about, the other ones are even better. But those are more of like 1-1. So chicken is extremely inflammatory, disrupting the gut in general, causing an overpopulation of the bad gut bacteria, causing leaky gut, which then you're not even absorbing the nutrients. Then you add in the broccoli, and the broccoli is full of sulfur. It is one of the worst offenders of sulfur vegetables, and this could be causing a disruption in your detoxification pathway. A lot of people get bloated on broccoli, and you have to eat a lot of it to get the nutrients that you want. So you've got bloat, and you're not absorbing or breaking down your amino acids from the chicken. And with that, you're also got leaky gut, and then the particles from this quote unquote healthy foods are getting into the bloodstream and getting a huge inflammatory response throughout the whole body. And the body says, I don't understand what just happened. I've got a foreign invader in my blood. Let's halt the horses and have an extremely inflammatory autoimmune response. And it's from eating your quote unquote healthy, ketogenic, low carb chicken and broccoli meal.
Wow. That was a mouthful. There are a lot of trainers out there thinking that batch cooking that I just did on the weekend is going to have to go. All right,
Right.
I'm going to give you another one. Have a big salad, says almost every trainer everywhere. Even functional doctors, I'm talking social media influencer, functional doctors known for nutrition will state this. How can this make clients fat?
Oh gosh, I was one that used to have this huge salad twice a day, and I didn't understand why I was so bloated. Our bodies, and I just interviewed Craig Emmerich on Accelerated Health Radio, and he talks about the length of the small intestines versus the primates. And small intestine is where you're supposed to digest animal protein. Large intestine is for I believe it was the large intestine, and the cecum is for breaking down fiber. We have a very small little cecum, and the animals that are vegetarian have this large one. We're not meant to eat that much vegetable. It is, number one, full of oxalates, a lot of them, and the oxalates are in kale and spinach and Swiss chard. A lot of the deep green veggies that we also do our green juices with, and those oxalates are causing that arthritic pain, the joint pain, the bloat, and the dysbiosis. They're inflaming the whole system. And that's where you get the pain and the arthritis in the joint. And then it's also those oxalates are getting lodged into your thyroid, which is slowing down the metabolism, slowing down your detoxification pathways. And those oxalates are also making it easier for other toxins to get lodged into your tissues. And in an era where we've got so many heavy metals and toxins and radiation, we're sitting ducks. If we don't have enough iodine in our tissues to displace those oxalates and displace those heavy metals, then we're just a sitting duck for more of a bigger accumulation. And the more toxins we have, the slower our metabolism, the slower our brain's working. When your brain doesn't work, you don't have the motivation to go work out. It's just all a vicious cycle, and you've got your mental and physical body totally disrupted. And you're also getting depressed. So we haven't even touched on the fact that these foods could be causing mental depression, anxiety, brain fog, and all these other brain diseases.
Okay. I'm going to give you another one. So these three questions are just the tip of the iceberg, but listeners, hang in there. The green smoothie is probably known by most of our listeners that is a better option than in, say, a green juice as far as blood sugar and insulin goes. But how can that go wrong?
Well, green smoothies are green from the spinach, the kale, the Swiss chard, the celery, all of these foods that are full of oxalates. So you've pre-digested the food so that you're able to eat more than what you would if you were to sit down to a plate of kale or spinach, right? I mean, just like everyone says, oh, well, you're going to get all of the nutrients from so many vegetables and you're not going to get bloated. Well, actually you are, because your body is taking in way too many oxalates and maybe even the sulfur foods that are creating that disruption in your detoxification pathways. So you're bypassing nature's way of slowing you down on the amount of fibrous vegetables. Plants don't want to be eaten. Hard fact, black and white. Plants are sitting ducks. They can't run away from you. Animals can run away. They don't have poisons in them. The way the vegetables and the plants are able to defend themselves are for having some sort of poison in them to keep people and animals away from them. So you are compounding that by shoving a whole bunch into a smoothie or a juice and drinking it. And then you've got all the fiber, and your body does not need fiber to poop. That's one of those myths that people actually say, well, I need to eat a lot more greens to make sure I'm going to the bathroom. You actually don't need the fiber to go to the bathroom.
Good to know. I've been guilty of saying that. However, I don't think I'm the opposite. So I don't believe the roughage in greens offers enough fiber. I think sweet potatoes, I think quinoa, I think brown rice are better sources of fiber. And I don't want to, I don't want to not go down this path, but in the short time that we have, I want to ask one more pivotal question. And then it's just clear, Sarah, you're going to have to come back. So, here's my last question. So many of our listeners are here because they are menopause fitness specialists. Many of them have gone through or are going through now the Flipping 50 menopause fitness specialist and want to develop their businesses working with midlife women. Are midlife women more prone to these types of problems and or a little bit more sensitive to these healthy foods causing issue?
I think you know the answer.
That was a loaded question.
Yeah. Whenever I talk about clients and they say, well, my husband wants to do it with me, I say, well, don't get frustrated because it's going to be a lot easier for him. And it's true, without doubt. But this is the thing, is that we are so special. Us women, we're so special that our systems are so sensitive, but that also means we're so special in so many other ways, right? That the men get to benefit from. But yes, unfortunately, it's all about hormones. Weight loss, weight gain is a hormone issue. It's not a calories in, calorie out issue. And what we're talking about is insulin, but that affects our gut hormones. It affects our sex hormones. And these foods also affect all of that as well. So yes, yes, and yes. And the thing is when you start making some of these changes, and it's not of what you can't eat, because then I give people different recommendations of what they can eat. So you always want to make sure that you have what you can eat in front of you instead of just taking the alcohol away from the alcoholic. You need to give the alcoholic a new passion, right? So you need something else. You will feel so good. You will feel your hormones will get in balance. And one thing we haven't mentioned is some of the supplements I have make you feel good day one. So you don't even know you're detoxing. So you don't go through that transition phase of not feeling good. You start feeling good day one. And it's like this whole new light is upon you. I'm 46 and I have more energy than I did when I was in high school. I feel better than when I was in college. And I just am excited because I now know that age is just a number, and I'm actually reversing my biological age.
So good. I absolutely love it. And for our listeners, so if we've piqued your interest, and trust me, it was meant to do so by asking those 3 questions that I know is going to resonate with one of you listening. You were going to hit on either one of those questions or maybe multiples. I recommend that you do this before making a recommendation to your clients. Try what we're talking about. So you potentially are the best trainer or health coach for a woman in midlife, if you are one, and many of you are, I know from having talked to you. I would recommend that if you're prone to any of these signs or symptoms, that you too go through it, because we're not immune, right? Unfortunately, we don't have a get out of jail card and say we're not going through menopause. Our hormones in our gut are not changing. We too can be susceptible and have fallen for that. This is healthy. These are healthy foods I should eat. And so I will put the link in the show notes, and that will be at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/nutrition recommendations. That's fitnessmarketingmastery.com nutrition recommendations, so that you can try it yourself and then know, like, trust, be able to talk about your experience with your clients. So with that, what are you waiting for? The world needs you and I more than ever right now.